Hi, I'm Cal, and welcome back to Bloom Minutes. What is new? What is new? I don't think much has happened since I filmed the last episode. We've had some visitors come see us in Florida, some family, some friends. My mother-in-law came and stayed with us, as well as my childhood best friend and her daughter. I got to meet her in person for the first time, Sophie. We have a regularly scheduled plain podcast today. Some things I've finished, some things I'm working on, and some skeins I've acquired and have plans to cast on soon. It's been getting so warm again. I am dripping in sweat in this wool sweater, but speaking of my wool sweater, I will start with what I am wearing. This is my Hanni cardigan. I test knit this for Knitters and Friends last year. It taught me German short rows, which I'd never done before. I'm glad I have that in my arsenal now because I've used it on a lot of things. I really enjoyed learning that. So the way that this is constructed is I believe you start with the trapezoid back, or trapezium back with German short rows, and then I think I picked up for each shoulder into the front and then connected under the arms and then knit each arm. I believe was how the construction was. It is an O-neck, plain stockinette, pretty boxy cardigan. It's finished with some rib detailing on the bottom here. And I added these wooden floral buttons that I picked out on Etsy. And I'm having a little bit of puckering where each of the button is put down. That is one thing I don't like when I look at this button band, is this puckering bit that goes on. I loved working with this yarn. This is knit in Drops Baby Merino and Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. Very affordable yarn. I love this combo. I've used this combo a couple times now. It's very warm, very fuzzy, smooth to work with, nothing too crazy on the yarn front. My complaint about this is that when I blocked it way longer than my arm. And so, as you can see, it's very hard to wear. This is a project that I would love to go back at some point and fix, because right now I'm giving Grinch or some other thing that I can't find my hands. Yeah. Go ahead and roll these back up because these look ridiculous. So that definitely keeps me from wearing this. That and the fact that, again, it's Florida and this is a wool sweater, very warm. What else can I say about this? I love the color of this chocolate brown neutral color. I think the buttons complement it very well. When I was working on this, I remember I had run out of yarn while doing the sleeves, and in retrospect, I didn't need to buy more yarn. I could have just cast off because my sleeves are enormously long anyway. And that would have saved me both time and more time now that I have to undo them. I wish that there were more opportunities to wear this here in Florida, for sure. I think if I were to go, my husband and I are originally from around Buffalo, New York, and I think if we go home and visit, this would be a good piece to have. It hides my golden retriever's fur pretty well for being a dark color. Everything I knit has little bits of Baymax in it. So right now I have it paired with this brown lace mock neck undershirt and some Free People jeans. I guess that will bring me to some finished projects. My first finished project is not something that I had as a work in progress last time. It is a scrappy hat that I just decided to cast on. So I'd had, both of these were hand-me-down yarns from my Grandma Jean, and I had them in my scrap bag of yarn, and I just decided to combine them after being inspired by I don't remember the name of the pattern, I'll have to look it up, but I'll put it right here. I was inspired by this hat pattern and thought that I could try and scramble something up on my own with my scrap yarn, and so this hat was born. I would say that this hat is about maybe 12-month-old to 18-month-old size. So it fits Milo, but it's a little snug at 2. I think I'll either save this for one of the girls or gift this to one of my nephews. We'll see. But I have a lot more of this yarn, and I would like to make, I like to always have like at least one scrap project going on. So that is the goal, is to make another one of these. I believe my mom had commented on my Instagram photo and she said that she had dibs, but unfortunately this won't fit her, so I'll have to make her own that actually fits. But yeah, I'll show you up close. I just did basically like a tube of this thicker fuzzy yarn. I believe this is like acrylic Red Heart brand yarn. Then I switched to this blue acrylic yarn and did a series of decreases to the tip, and then I folded the brim, and I think it's called chain stitch embroidered the thicker yarn into like a T, kind of like a cross. And yeah, I really am happy with how it turned out. It'll be cute once I find a baby that will fit it. All right, the second finished project that I was able to finish was this, what I'm calling my baby girl hearts sweater. So it's got a little bit of a heart motif going on the back. I knit the back first, and then I picked up for the front, and then did the sleeves after that. And I would like to make a second one of these in blues and greens for Delia, now that I have this one for Ivory. And yeah, I've talked a lot about this, so nothing's really different. I've been working on this for the last few podcasts as well. And my goal was for this was to be about a 6 to 12 month size, so I'm hoping that this will fit them soon. They're still in 0 to 3 month clothes. They're a lot smaller than my son was at this point, but and then when I did the collar, I just picked up and then knit stockinette and then folded it over. Yeah. So the only other finished project from the last few weeks is another baby knit. And it is this little alpaca sweater. It is the sister matching sweater to the sherbet sweater that I knit a couple episodes ago. It has its own little daisy flower, and it's just a little smattering of mint green in there. This was knit in Hip Knit Shop mohair in the color pistachio, and Wool and the Gang Feeling Good yarn in the color duck egg blue. Both were leftovers that I had, and I'm happy with this little sweater that came out of it. Came out of scrap yarns. It always feels like you're knitting for free when you don't use a pattern at all, or when you use a pattern you already have, or if you're using scrap yarn. It's just like it appears. It's free. You didn't have to pay for the pattern. You didn't have to buy new yarn for the project. Free. Girl math. those are the only 3 things that I have to show in terms of things that I finished, and then I guess I will go into some works in progress. All right, that is everything that I have recently finished, and now I will show you some of the things I've recently been working on. First up, I have this knit collage flower power cardi that was a knit kit I got for Christmas from my husband, and I cast it on. And the way that this is structured in this pattern is you knit from sleeve across to the next sleeve. And so I have the start of one sleeve, and I think I have maybe like an inch or 2 left before I have to start the intarsia, and I'm nervous to continue. So I put this down and haven't picked it back up. Getting to this point was really fast because this yarn is so chunky and it's just like easy stockinette. However, the barrier to entry for the color work is making me not want to work on it. The flower starts mid-sleeve, I believe, and it's like one big flower that goes around, and I need to look more into intarsia before I commit to sitting down and doing this at a time, likely when everyone is asleep, because I'll need to dedicate some brain power to it. But I'm really loving how plush and squishy this is knitting up. This was that yarn that had the fibers, the unique fiber. It was uniquely spun, and it also has like the gold and silver, almost like a tinsel running through it. I don't know if you can see the shimmery tinsel from there, but yes, super woolly, very excited to start the intarsia. I should say I'm very nervous, but also excited to start the intarsia flowers. I think this will be really cute cardigan, but again, it has my hair knit into it. This is the Flower Power Cardi by Knit Collage, and this is my current progress. So we're about that length, that far way through. The second project that I have been dedicating a lot of time to is my Give Me the TT, which you can see I decided to go with the striping into the color block. I went to my local yarn shop and asked for a DK that was similar to the one I had because I couldn't find any more of the blue. And I also was like, it would probably make more sense to do a different color anyway if the dye lot's not going to be the same. So this is what I ended up decided to do. This is what I ended up doing. I decided to go with the stripes into the white. This is the first time where I've tried to do continental knitting with one of the colors for the color work. So I've been practicing. I will throw with this hand with the blue, and then with the white I was picking, I think is what it's considered if you do it continental, right? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, this is the current progress on her. The yarn that I switched to is a Juniper Moon Farm. I believe it's Rambouillet. We'll have to see how that's pronounced. But it is a wool as opposed to the blue, which is an alpaca. And then I did the same mohair that I was using in blue. I got the same brand of that. I believe it's Jubilee yarn, and I'm carrying that with the Juniper Moon Farm for the white. And I think the color is called Pina Colada. But I'm really, really loving how this is turning out. I'm going to do the same striping to color work situation for the sleeves too, so that it's so it's a little more cohesive. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this turns out. This is my Give Me the TT, and she is thick with 3 C's because she's gonna be warm. Way too warm for Florida. I will have to send this to somebody in Buffalo. Oh, I also ordered some color catchers for when I block this one because I'm nervous about the blue bleeding into the white. So we'll see how well those color catchers work. Not that I even know that this blue is gonna bleed at all anyway, but just in case. Yeah. And then this is what the color work looks like on the inside. And that is my Give Me the TT. The next project I have done quite a bit on is my darling sweater. Been forcing myself to work on my darling sweater. I am nervous about the size of this and the way that this is gonna look when I'm done, but we're committing. We are just going forward. I have completely finished the front. I did the right and left shoulders, and now I am back to working on a lot of stitches for the back color work. But this is her so far. Hold it up with the back a little bit. I think the more I've worked on this, I have decided I am not going to do sleeves. I am going to make this a vest just because I think I will get a lot more wear out of it as a vest than I will as a full-on sweater here in Florida. So that has been something I've decided while I've been working on this. I went from, I believe it was a size 5 when I started, size 5 in the pattern, and I have decreased further because I was afraid it wasn't going to fit my top area to, I believe, a size 3. So I am a little nervous about how that tapering will look. But there was no chance I was tearing out color work. So it is a bit of a gamble. Hopefully she turns out cute. This is knit in the Viking Garn Bambino. It is a bamboo cotton blend, and I really love this yarn. Would definitely use again. I think I'm gonna have a lot left over because I'm not doing sleeves. So I'll be able to make something else with the rest of this yarn. But I'm just gonna hold up and this is what the back of the color work is looking like so far. Carrying of the floats. But I really love this. Getting closer to finished. Getting closer to finished. The last big project I've been working on pretty much nonstop the last week or 2 is my novice slipover in matcha woolly base yarn by Sewrella. I'm loving working on this, loving it. It is just like flying off the needles, and I can't wait to have this. I even bought a pair of jeans that I'm hoping will match perfectly. I also bought a skirt to go with it that will match perfectly. Very excited to have this and wear this. I am about maybe a couple inches, maybe 1.5 inches or so from starting the ribbing and then being done with the length, and then I will pick up for the arm finishes, sleeve finishes. So excited to have this. Again, I'm concerned about the wooliness of this yarn being feasible here in Florida, but I'm hoping the fact that it's a vest will make it more usable. In retrospect, I think I would have picked a different base for this project. I love this matcha color from Sewrella Yarns, but I think I would have picked a different base simply for use of wear here in Florida. This is the best looking folded over stockinette collar that I've ever done. I believe it's because it's not stockinette, it's rib. Now that I remember, this is rib. And the pattern has you slipping the pearls, I believe, at some point. But it just looks very crisp and clean. Very happy with how it turned out. And then instead of knitting together and casting off in the same row, I did cast off the entire row and then weave in the ends afterwards. This is my Sip and Stitch Matcha Novice Pullover Slipover by Petite, and I love her. Now I will go on to show you some acquisitions and knitting plans that I have. The first acquisition I have to show you is my Sewrella Eras Club order. So Sewrella Yarn does this Taylor Swift inspired Eras Club where they take like a song lyric or an album or something Taylor Swift related and they make colorway based off of that. So for the month of January, the owner of Sewrella Yarns chose Our Song and Teardrops on My Guitar and made two colorways, one variegated and one tonal, based off of those. So this one is the Teardrops on My Guitar color. And you can see it's just this kaleidoscope of blues and periwinkles and purples, and it's very evocative of the music video for If You're a Swiftie, Teardrops on My Guitar. And I got this in the silk sock. I got this in the silk sock base to make the Evie hood by Woozy by Celine. And I was hoping to pair it with the other Our Song color, but since they are surprise colors, I forgot to mention that, when you order them, you don't know what you're getting. You just know that it's inspired by these songs, and then there's some like photos shown, and you just kind of have to Russian roulette, see what you're gonna get.